Hey all, it's Juan here. So today I'm checking out a bit of a classic. This is the JVC HA-FDX1. Now this came out in 2019 and it's kind of a long time in terms of IEM terms. I mean, it's practically an eternity. We've had so many advancements since then. But I wanted to check out this classic here because this was actually one of my first introductions to decent high-end, or I guess high-end budget IEMs back in 2020 and 2019. And the industry's moved on quite a bit since then, but I think it still holds up in its own way and kind of fills an interesting niche. So, for those who don't remember, this is a single dynamic driver IEM with ambidextrous shells. So these actually do just kind of spin around, and you can insert them cable up or cable down or opposite directions if you want. The cable that it came with was actually pretty nice. This is the JVC cable with this little machined metal bits hanging around here. Super nice. Doesn't really like to tangle up very often. And the included tips are these spiral dot plus that are super squishy. I don't think I've really seen much since then that are like this, except for maybe the Sednas, but that's its own thing. And the main gimmick with these back then was the interchangeable nozzle system. So they have this little switch here. Turn it, twist it, then it should just come off. And it had these sort of color-coded little filters out here. Let's see if my camera's good enough to pick that up. That pulled off a neat little trick. So a little bit of history here. The FDX1 is a modified iteration of the original FD01, using some design elements of the FD02, like this kind of nice and smooth backside here. Now, the FD01 had the same interchangeable nozzle system, but you can only select between 3 different materials of this machined metal. The FDX1, however, included 3 different nozzles, but some forum users decided to essentially modify them with these little foam, or not foam, but these cotton and felt sort of inserts to damp out the treble and the upper mid-gain presence, which was a little spicy on the original model. And, well, it worked quite well. I mean, I think Critical called it kind of mod magic. And, although it is a gimmick and I only kind of use it on this one nozzle, which is the most damped one, it's a gimmick that works. And I think that's allowed it to hold up quite nicely. I mean, even by modern standards, it's still a pretty good sort of flat, slightly warmed or slightly rolled DF type of sound. The treble extension is pretty good. It's not the most technical still, but considering how much the prices have gone down since launch, I believe a couple of years ago these were only $100. And I forgot about the case. These are fully kind of machined out stainless steel cases. I mean, they're solid, they're heavy, they feel nice, a little rattly sometimes, but it's what considering all that's going on here, not unexpected. But yeah, so this is kind of, I don't know, one of those old IEMs that is really just kind of nicely put together. And most of the industry's kind of moved on to 3D printed shells, resin shells, which, although could be more ergonomic, they don't really feel like this anymore, at least at this price point. And not to mention, in terms of the fit, it's kind of a nice thing, so I like to use it in its cable down configuration because it fits a little like an earbud. These are not super long nozzles, and the tips are just kind of squishy. They're not, nothing goes in super deep, so it just kind of feels like you're putting in an earbud, and it's not as wide as usual earbuds. And yeah, I mean, just pop it in, take it out. It's not fiddly. It's not, it doesn't get all you don't have to twist it around or anything like that. It just kind of sits in place and kind of auto adjusts to your canal angle. And again, it's a neat little thing, and I don't know, I haven't really seen much since then in terms of IMs, and aside from like the ultra budget sort of bullet style earbuds. But yeah, and then the sound itself, like I mentioned earlier, it holds up pretty nicely. It's not the most technical anymore, but it's not a bad neutral response, and it takes pretty decently to EQ. I have these kind of permanently hooked up to my Q-Deluxe 5K dongle setup here, and there's a bug there. Anyways, and yeah, I mean, EQ potential is there. It's not a particularly peaky response, so it takes well to. It doesn't need a whole lot of like high Q filters on it to sound good, or to tune it to Harman. Thanks to the pretty well damped nozzle system. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of bring back some appreciation to this few-year-old classic, kind of get my channel back up and running a little bit. But that's it. Thanks for watching. See ya.